So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of going beyond your comfort zone. This session is going to be a special edition. I'm going to be the guest in my own show, and I give Florian the uh, the opportunity to interview me about my well, at least about that I'm not doing this sailing trip, and then like other things that might come uh, about, and we'll just have a conversation what that's about. So, Florian, I mean, you're broadcasting from your boat. Uh,
Yes,
Maybe you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, and then just let's dive into our conversation.
yes. Hey, hello, and good morning, Buzz, and everybody else. Good to be here again. We had a conversation, I think, a while ago. That was about me, and so maybe you have seen me again before. I am again sitting on my little sailing yacht here in the Mediterranean. I'm in Italy now, in Elba, and it is super windy outside. So the whole boat is shaking a little bit. So if I have to hold on, that's not because I'm drunk. And if there's a lot of noise outside, well, I can't do anything about it. That's the weather. And I think it's quite interesting that I'm calling in from a boat, talking to you about a boat. Bas and me, we are coaching friends, so to say, and we are joining some marketing class together. And we know each other for about 3 years now, I think. And during the last year, so you know my journey on the boat, and you know that I'm sometimes in these calls, I'm on the boat, and sometimes I'm not. And sometime last year, you told me, "Oh yeah, you're going sailing as well," and a friend invited you to cross the Atlantic, and I haven't done that so far. I plan it for this year, and then I want to work the next winter from the Caribbean, but I have not done it. And so I was very curious how this is going, and I really kept asking you how the preparation is going. And so you went on sailing trips before, so you practiced that. Then you took off work. You planned a couple of months to spend with them in the Caribbean. And then you left, and I was so curious to see you or hear from you in the Caribbean. And then our joint friend Tony said, "No, he's back." And I said, "No, that can't be true." And that's what I want to talk to you about, because that you set a goal, you seem to have a passion, you had you prepared for that, so you even left, and then you didn't do it. Let's start at the beginning. Why did you want to do it in the first place?
Well, first, why I wanted to do it was it sounded like an opportunity of a lifetime,
Mhm.
and um, it felt like it was like a gift given to me, and it was like that's why I was like, it's like, okay, let's go. This is something. How many people do this? How often do you get this opportunity? And I I mean, I do like the water. I like water. I like kite surfing. I like the sea. I like the ocean. So there was that, or there is that passion. So that's why I wanted to do it. When I said yes in the beginning, I did not really have that much sailing experience. Although I do come from a sailing family, and my grandmother used to have a marina in the Netherlands in the 19. Well, her father had it, so my great grandfather, my grandmother run the restaurant, and the marina is still there. Um, so there is there is like a sailing history in my family, and my father and my grandfather, they were always talking about boats, but never really taking me on boats. But yeah, so I don't know, that was like all that combined was like, okay, maybe this is an amazing thing.
what
So
do you think? What did you expect the fun parts to be?
the fun parts, um, the um, the times that I sailed was, and what I really liked was when like I'm not like this nice weather sailor, I would
Not,
say.
not like me.
I don't like to lay on the deck and be like, oh, it's sunny and a glass of white wine. No, I rather have like I rather have it cold. The boat is going like this, and there's there's wind and there's waves and there's action. That's what I would like. Yeah, there too. That's how I like to.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I like about sailing.
Yeah.
So um, then yeah, as I did not have that much experience, the people that invited me to come is like, let's do a couple of training trips.
Yeah.
So the first trip we did was like it felt like winter. I mean, I was wearing a hat and like like a suit and like 5 layers, and it was cold, and it was like we were the only people in the water. It was early April, and I think it was like 7 degrees outside. It was like really cold. But I was having fun, and uh, also what I like got was like uh the people that invited me were like they do ask more people to come with them on board and share some of the trips, and most of these people, well, I will not say most, but some of these people are like nice weather sailors, and it's like, and I was just fine, I wasn't getting seasick. I was having fun. um and then I did another trip. Like this was the maiden voyage of the boat that the guy bought, and we sailed it to the UK from France. And I just sailed it by hand, or steered by hand. And I mean, of course, I got help with the sails and things like
Mhm.
that. But there, I mean, they were surprised that I wanted to do that. I just did the whole 12 hours just steering by hand instead of like putting on
Autopilot, yeah.
the autopilot. So I mean, that's where the fun was for me. Um, and yeah, now maybe yeah, that's it. Maybe like now you want to know
Yeah.
why I didn't, or in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
end.
No, that's I was curious, like, what did you expect? Because obviously your expectations didn't meet what you got in the end. So what time did you leave? It was beginning of December, something like this, or November.
No, so the people that I was going to join
Mhm.
on the Atlantic crossing, they left early August
From
2020
where?
from Belgium.
Okay.
So they went along the French coast. They crossed the Gulf of Biscaya, and then they northern Spain, along Portugal, then to Madeira. That's where I joined them for another part of the
Hmm.
trip. We sailed from Madeira to Lanzarote, um, and then that was all planned. Like I was going to do that part, then I was going to fly back. Then a couple of weeks later, oh, there you are again. Then, so I was going to fly back from Lanzarote to Amsterdam, and then later on I would fly to uh, one of the other Canary Islands, and then we would start that trip, like in the end of November, going down to the Cape Verdean Islands, and then crossing to Martinique in the Atlantics. Um, and then I would stay there for another month and probably come back around this
For the
time.
sunshine and the lying on deck. Yeah.
Yes. I never been to the Caribbean, so that was also like one of the uh, let's say, perks of the trip,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go to see some of the Caribbean islands from a total different perspective.
Hmm.
uh, so I went to I did so yeah, what was I like when I was what I was expecting on the trip. um well, there were like there were a few things that I was considering that I had to deal with. One was like, I mean, liking the water is one thing, but I mean, the Atlantic is massive. It's like it doesn't stop. Especially when you're in the middle. It's like miles, thousands of miles on each side before there is land. I have no idea how I would respond to that.
Hmm.
Um, so that was one thing that I was considering. The other thing I was considering is like the psychology on board. Um,
How many
you're
people were you?
we were supposed to be four people. Um, and I mean, whether you have a small boat or a big boat, I think every boat is going to be extremely small at this certain
Yeah.
moment. But then at the same time, I do think I have enough tools in my backpack uh, to handle, let's say, conflict or
Hmm.
whatever comes across, irritation or whatever. That's not something that scared me. But yeah, so when I did the sailing trip from Madeira to Lanzarote, I was it was the first time I did night sailing and in shifts going going on like 4 hours on, 4 hours off. Um, and that's where I've realized something that I wasn't really expecting, and that I was getting a bit bored actually. I was like, you just sit there and the autopilot like sails the boat and you just sit there, and it wasn't like uh as yeah, as exciting as some of the other trips, where the boat is like really.
And everybody else probably was happy about that,
Oh,
because
yeah.
if an Atlantic crossing is exciting all the way across, then you might be in some real shitty weather.
Yeah, exactly. So um that was like that was something I really did not expect that would happen.
I
And then
I personally believe that sailing is one of the, I mean, this long distance sailing is one of the most boring things that you can do, because there's, I mean, you are aiming for a good weather window, so
yeah.
that you have fair winds but nothing catastrophic. Then you are not changing the direction because not a regatta, so you're just going one direction, and you're not tacking, and, or you're not tacking other than when the wind is changing. So there's nothing to do, and then, I mean, you're going super slow compared to a car, and still you have to watch out that you're not hitting another boat, although you can't see anything to the horizon. And I think that is, in my opinion, the beauty of it, because it forces you to slow down, even if you are off, especially when you are off internet. So you have no distractions, nothing you can do. Maybe you're getting a bit sick when you are reading, so you have to watch the horizon when nothing is happening.
Uh-huh.
And that is, it can have the potential to calm your mind, because you're with yourself all of the time, and you just have to be.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because that was like a lot that was a lot of that was a question a lot of people asking me. It's like, oh, you're going to be off the grid, no internet, no, like that. And that was really like that did not worry me at all. The um I mean, I've done without like internet and without a phone for 10 days before. It was a creative bubble. So and that, like, being on the boat is the same thing, you know. There is also nothing, let's say, I mean, you cannot do, like, you don't need your phone, like, on the boat, you know. It's not like, oh, let me check the train schedule, you know, where am I going to go tomorrow? Or it's like, you know, of course you get some weather downloads, but that's like all within the boat, let's say. So so I don't, you know, you don't really need it. And so that really was not an issue for me, um at all. But yeah, like,
The boredom.
yeah, and I what I also noticed was that I was not like absorbing, like, all, let's say, all the information about the boat, about sailing, about the course, or the heading, or uh but also, like, what these people, like, there's such huge community around, uh like, crossing the Atlantic. You know, there's like, there's so many different app groups about different, like, with different topics, you know, a technical app group, a weather app group, a cooking app group. It's like, it's just like, it just like, it's limitless. uh but I, you know, I was also not like reading up on it, and I was like, you know, is this really, like, if I yeah. So I was like, I don't think I really want to do this. And being bored is one thing, you know, being bored by myself for I mean, even 2 weeks, it's not fine, you know. But being on a boat with three other people, having, where they will have to deal with my boredom, you know, that's, I didn't really want to do that, and be like, that's, you know, I have nowhere to go, and they also have nowhere to go, so they can't just, like,
Only
say,
overboard, and then they will
yeah,
tell
yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly, is exactly. So it's like, yeah, that was really, like, something where it's like, this,
And
yeah.
when did you take the decision that you are dropping out of the group? While you were
Uh,
still on the boat, or when you were back in Amsterdam?
no, no, no. When I was still on the boat,
Hmm.
this is like one of the things that, um, well, we had a conversation. So I was there for a week. The so I was flying back on Saturday. We had a conversation about it on Thursday, and I was asked, like, do you really want to do this? By my stepmother, who was sailing on the boat as well. And I was a bit like, I felt attacked. You know, I didn't really want to, like, hear what she had to say. And I was like, and I was, in the story I created, you know, nothing with her. I was like, you know, I need to, when I say yes, I need to prove it that I really want to do this. And if I say no, I'm just a jerk. You know, I'm just like, they're in the middle of their trip. I promised that I was gonna be part of it, part of some of the trip, but now they're like, instead of being with four, they're with three people. You know, there might be an impact with them, yeah. So it was like, we had a conversation. At the end of the conversation, yes, I wanna. I'm still going to join. And then I slept the night over it, and I was, well, I didn't really sleep. I just kept thinking, I'm waking up, thinking, I'm waking up. It's not something that I normally do. I just sleep. But I was like, you know, this is not. It's not like, you know, be honest with yourself, be honest with them, and then, you know, see, have a conversation about what the consequences might be, you know. And if there's something we could, maybe we there's like, saying yes and saying no, there are other options, you know, maybe options that I did not think about. And yeah, so I had a conversation the next morning, and I said, you know, I thought about it, uh and, you know, I want to make, I know what I want. And this is not what I want, and I shouldn't be I don't want to do this. And then we talked about the impact for them, and it was really like they were, how shall I say, they were like, we would love to have you on board, but only in the right mindset. Um, and that's funny to say from a mindset coach, but I was like, yeah, no, and I get that, so uh, I did not join them. They did the crossing with three people, and uh, it went it went fine. They had a good time. It was um, yeah, no extreme uh
So
things
just,
happen.
yeah, just the boring autopilot sailing across the Atlantic, going on the trade winds train. Um, did it feel like a failure at any time?
Yes. um I had, of course, been saying this to like so many people, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And then that was also like one of the things. It's like, oh my god, I have to tell all these people that I'm not going to do this. And uh only one friend of mine, he was like, "You're such a dick." It's like, this is like, how can you do this? He wants to do it as well, and I was just like, yeah, it's not for me, not right now, and not. I wouldn't. I'm not saying never say never, but yeah, it might happen at another time, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's like not
No,
now,
no, for now.
not for now.
Yeah.
And it's also
How did you deal with um, that fear or that worry about telling other people, and that thought of a failure? Because let's face it, in the end, we are all constantly in situations where we wanted to achieve something else, and either we failed in achieving that and we ended up being somewhere else, or we even quit halfway through, or we are in the process of going to a place, speaking metaphorically, where we
yeah,
don't want to be in the first place, because we
yeah,
realize, no, I don't want to go there. And so many of us, man, be it relationship, be it the job, be it friendships, be it the place where you live, so often we think we have to stick to something because we want to show the commitment, and then we are not even good at that, because it's it's lacking passion. So this is why I think aborting, like, a dream that so many people have, and that feels like the adventure of a lifetime, and you have the guts to say at the beginning, it's not for me and I'm out, is might might have been the more brave decision in that moment, and still it feels as a failure. I'm interested to find out, what is your how did you deal with that? What is your suggestion to other people who are in the same situation, where they might wake up in the night and ask themselves if they shall stay with that person or in that job?
yeah. It's like I I came very present to that, and to like uh through this experience, but also through another, like a couple of other experiences in like in the last 2 months. One of the other things is that I quit all my social media except LinkedIn, where I'm right where we are right now. But also removed all the apps from my phone, and that it was like a similar thing. I'm like thinking that if I cannot do without it, or it's like I've committed to it, and it's like if what am I going to replace it with, or um yeah, you think you belong to something, and then basically, like, if you would leave that, you are, how shall I say, confronting a void, which you don't know what that's going to be. But you cannot you have to quit that other thing to become, let's say, part of the new thing, or to fill up that void with the thing that you really want. um and yeah, it's what you say, staying in a relationship that doesn't work, or staying in a job that doesn't work, or staying uh um in a community that doesn't work,
So
and
if
that.
I was, if I had been your mindset coach
Yeah,
during that phase, what would have been the right question to ask you?
like, why why do you want this, or what would you want to do instead, or who would you want to be instead, and and how would you like to create it in, or what would you like to create that works better for you, um so that you really like get to create the new thing without the worries, or without the fear, or without the guilt, or uh
And who was it that you decided that you want to be instead of the sailor across the ocean?
that I mean, that's a little bit, well, I don't know. I just, well, what I wanted to be is, I wanted to be honest with myself, and I wanted to be honest with the people involved, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I also wanted to be like one of the, like, what I've done from the past, what I would have done in the past is, like, I said it, I'm gonna do it, and I will just, I will get myself to the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, whatever it takes, at whatever cost, but that's not fun, if I'm just going there, just forcing myself, forcing forcing the other people to be with me, so
Mm-hmm.
that I can just say, I did it, I ticked the box. So, and that's not, I want to do it through, um let's say, through choice, instead of through force.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
what is a good way to deal with that? Um, yeah, that guilt and that feeling of failure. So if I'm thinking about leaving my job or leaving a community, there are some people that I have to tell, because every time that we change, it's like breaking up with something or with
yes,
somebody. I mean, if you
yes,
are if you're leaving social media, then there might be a lot of people that somehow got info from you, and they might be whatever missing you, or they can't reach you there, contact you. You might lack a way to communicate with them. So it's also a bit of a breaking up. If you're leaving the job, then you're disappointing people who invested time and money in you. If you're leaving a community, you tell these people, I do not want to be with you. There are other people I would prefer to you. So it's always this guilt feeling towards other people. And this is why I think a lot of us don't live up to who they want to be.
yeah. And what the other thing is like, you know you're dealing with this, let's say, decision, like not going to sail across the Atlantic. Whether I when I If I would say yes, I'm still dealing with that decision, and the consequences that decision
Mhm.
has. If I decide not to sail, there will be other, like, consequences, and in either situation, you don't know uh, what is going to happen, or you can't predict the future. You don't know what the consequences might be. Uh, so it's like, and it's just a decision. When I looked at it, like, okay, I can. before it would appear to me like, okay, I say no to sailing the Atlantic. I will never sail the Atlantic again. I will never get this. I will never get this opportunity again, which
Mhm.
is like, which is nonsense. If I want to create it, or if I will want to, like, if I decide in 3 years I want to do it, there's so many people that do it, every single year. Yeah, I might have to take a bit more effort for me to do it, to
Yeah.
get into a community, or to get with people, or to, like, to train myself more, or be like, yeah. But then it's like, I can always do it, when you leave a job, like, I think a lot of people, I had it as well. It's like, when I left my trading job, is like, I never can go back, which is like I now know is like complete nonsense. If you think you're in a position that's doesn't work for you, you leave, explore, see what happens, and then if you, at the end of the day, you decide that was the best job for you, and you really want to go back, you go back for the right reasons, um and that's fine.
Mhm. So maybe as a final suggestion to our viewers and listeners of the podcast, because I'm also going to stream, not to stream, but to publish this conversation in my podcast about the simplicity of happiness.
Yes.
I think it's adding a lot of value. So to all those who are carrying around a decision right now, and they are not brave enough to step up to who they want to be because they are afraid of the consequences, afraid to let people down. What is your suggestion to them?
Just take a leap of faith and just do it, just jump. You are already dealing with the decision, and
Mm-hmm.
just like, uh ignoring it or waiting, time will catch up, and you will have to take that decision in the end anyway. I was talking to an entrepreneur last week, and he's dealing with one of his companies, and he's procrastinating on making a decision on this company that he know he needs to. He already knows for months that he needs to make a decision, and time will catch up on him, and then the decision might be way more forced upon him than if he would make the decision now by himself. And I always think it's better that you are like, like, you're at the steering wheel. You make your decisions, instead of
Mm-hmm.
letting the circumstances, or the situation, or time, or investors decide for you. It's like, you will you can take the lead in talking to your investors, or you can wait for your investors to come to you, and then you're like, you still have to make the decision. Like, in any relationship is the same thing. It's like, address what is there for you now, instead of waiting for them to come, because then you need to repair a lot more, and sometimes it's beyond repair, where if you take action now and deal with your decisions right now, um, you're in control. And I
Yeah.
mean, a decision is not necessarily like, let's say in a relationship, it's like you need to break up, or you need to, like, commit for life. It's just like, it can be like very simple things, like
In a
small.
relationship, you're always committing for today.
Yes.
That's you can't commit for tomorrow because you might be hit by a truck this afternoon. So you
Yes.
can't give a promise for tomorrow. You can only give a promise for now. And I think if we realize that, it's opening the door for something that you have said earlier, and which I took out as the main advice for dealing with these situations, and that is be honest with yourself and the people around you, because that is opening a variety of opportunities. Because being honest does not mean that you have to take the decision right now.
No.
You're lying it on the table, and other people all of a sudden can understand where you are, and maybe they give you the feedback. It's okay.
Yeah.
So
And
if you only do that, I think you're already winning in relationships.
that was, let finish then with
Yeah.
the final lesson I got from telling the people I wasn't joining them on the trip. I was really like expecting like anger, disappointment, frustration, anything, blame, uh, or them telling me that, how could I have been such a fool? It's like, or how could I have said that I was going to do this and then not do it? But what they were so gracious about it, and they were like so, um, yeah, they were really like, okay, it's like, yeah, we'd love to have you on board, but only if you want to, not
Yeah.
because you have to or you need to to do it for us, or this is like, I mean, it's a joint effort. And um yeah, I was really like all the scenarios that I created in my head were like so far from
Mm.
what actually happened and what they actually said, which was really like uh an eye opening for me. And I think that that is like in a lot of that is for a lot of situations. We make it so much worse in our heads, um than what's actually going to happen or what will actually happen.
Yeah, I
um
think that is a good way to put it. We make it so much worse in our head than it's actually what's actually going to happen. And by the way, that's where anxiety is coming from, because anxiety is not a fear of something that's actually happening. Anxiety is a fear of something that we think that might happen, and then we are already afraid of something that didn't even happen yet, only because we think it
yes.
could happen. So, and that again is be honest, put it on the table, so that you can deal with the real shit.
Yeah,
Well, Buzz,
absolutely.
thank you so much for your honesty and your openness, and maybe we're going to have another talk about social media sometime down the
Oh
line.
yeah. Yeah, no problem. Florian, thank you for being the host on this
Yeah,
special edition. It was really fun. Yeah, keep it. Let us know on how your journey across the Atlantic is going to go and when it's going to happen. Um, yeah, thank you. I will be here tomorrow again with another episode, and then I'll be the host again. So thank you, Florian, and um,
ahoy, take care.
ahoy. Okay, bye.